Love is everywhere, in songs, movies, stories, and even the news. Yet philosophers point out that love plays an enormous and unavoidable role in our cultures. If love is such a big part of life, why does it still puzzle us? Apparently, the question itself puzzles the world. In one survey, "What is love?" was the 6th most asked existential question on Google. Think about the last time you saw someone you deeply care about after a long separation. Your heart might race, your cheeks flush. Those feelings are real and intense. Scientists have found evidence that romantic love exists in 147 out of 166 human cultures, suggesting it is nearly universal. Our brain's reward centers flood with dopamine and hormones like oxytocin, the so-called love hormone, when we feel love, lighting up our brains like fireworks. Yet if we try to capture love in a neat formula, it slips away. For thousands of years, thinkers have turned to philosophy for clues. What follows isn't a single answer, but a journey through some ideas about love, with stories and examples to spark your own thoughts. Classical philosophers often broke love down into different kinds to capture its many shades. One famous voice is Plato, 4th century BC. In his dialogue Symposium, he treats love, Eros, as an ascent. Imagine seeing a breathtaking sunset or a stunning painting. Plato would say our admiration for that beauty makes us yearn for the very idea of beauty itself. When we apply this to people, Plato suggests that falling for someone's beauty can be like stepping on a ladder toward a higher truth. In one famous myth, Plato claims humans were originally two-headed beings split apart by the gods, leaving each half to search for its missing other half. Love, in this story, is the longing to become whole again. Plato thought Eros begins with physical attraction, but can lift us to a kind of intellectual or spiritual love beyond the self. Aristotle, Plato's student, had a different emphasis. He saw Philia, deep friendship and goodwill, as fundamental. Aristotle wrote that the best friendships and loving relationships form between good people of similar character. He even said that true love between friends is like having two bodies and one soul. In other words, in a perfect friendship or marriage, the two individuals are so in tune that they seem united. Aristotle explored love in marriage and family too, treating it as a bond of mutual respect and shared virtue. Later traditions introduced agape, a universal and selfless love seen in early Christian thought and some Greek philosophy. This love cares equally for all people, inspiring acts like helping strangers or sacrificing for the greater good, exemplified by the biblical command to love your neighbor as yourself. Philosophers like Kant later echoed agape, urging us to treat humanity and others as an end in itself, while Eastern traditions similarly emphasize loving kindness toward all beings. To recap the three core loves, Eros is the fiery, yearning passion toward beauty or presence that Plato believed ultimately seeks transcendent beauty. Philia represents the deep, affectionate bond between friends and family, which Aristotle described as two bodies and one soul built on shared values and trust, and agape embodies unconditional, altruistic care for humanity without expectation. Together they reveal how love uplifts us, Eros, comforts us, Philia, and inspires global compassion, agape. We experience these loves every day. Think of Eros when you get butterflies seeing someone you like. Think of Philia when you laugh into the night with a good friend or stand by a family member through thick and thin. Think of agape when someone volunteers to help a stranger in need. These feelings guide our actions and tell us what truly matters to us. Modern science confirms love's power. Brain scans have shown that gazing at a beloved's face activates the reward center. It literally feels like a high. For example, a landmark study used fMRI on people looking at photos of someone they loved. Those images lit up dopamine-rich regions of the brain, similar to how the brain responds to addictive drugs. In fact, a quirky experiment with fruit flies found that male flies deprived of their mates drank 4 times as much alcohol as those that stayed coupled, suggesting heartbreak and addiction share the same reward center. Neuroscientists also find hormones behind love. When we hug or show affection, oxytocin pulses through our bodies. Oxytocin is known as the love hormone because it creates feelings of contentment and trust. It bonds infants to parents and partners to each other, explaining why closeness makes us feel safe. Some studies even show that when we're in love, our brains dial down areas responsible for fear and judgment. Literally, love dulls our sense of danger, hence the saying, love is blind. Love isn't only chemical fireworks, it also shapes real choices and values. Imagine you find a wallet on the street full of cash. You don't know the owner, but you can empathize. What if it were your wallet? Love and empathy, forms of Philia or Agape, might nudge you to return it, thinking of how you would feel. If love were only selfish desire, you might be tempted to keep it. This simple scenario shows how love can guide our sense of right and wrong. Consider a futuristic puzzle. Suppose technology could copy your mind into a robot body that looks like someone you love. If you truly care for the original person, would you feel the same love for the robot copy? Philosophers call this a thought experiment. It makes us question whether love is tied to the person's appearance, memories, or something deeper. Here's another example. A couple has been married for decades. The passionate thrills of youth have settled into a calm companionship. Are they still in love? Many would say yes, just in a different form. In philosophy, this shows love can mature, from fiery passion to steady devotion, but still remain meaningful. These everyday examples highlight that love is not just one thing. It can be exciting or comforting, selfish or selfless, and it can lead us to moral actions or deep companionship. So after all this, what is love? There isn't one final answer that fits every situation, but philosophy gives us tools to think about it. Love can be a passionate spark, a loyal friendship, or a selfless compassion. Science reminds us it's wired into who we are, from cultures around the world to the very circuits of our brains. The key point is that love matters, and asking questions about it matters too. The fact that we keep questioning love means that love moves us. Perhaps the journey of exploring love is part of what love offers. We learn not just from answers, but from the wonder of the questions. Next time your heart races or you feel a warm glow thinking of someone, remember that people have been asking these questions for millennia. That curiosity about love is itself a kind of love, a love of life and knowledge. We are all part of an ongoing story of love, each writing our own chapter with every beat of the heart. So what will your philosophy of love be? Honestly, love is a messy, mysterious, and very human thing. The great thing is, with all our scientific knowledge and poetic efforts, we still can't stop ourselves from asking, what is love? And if we are to talk about this question, it is a very deep philosophical nature. Plato considered love as a means of reaching the divine, a desire not only for a person, but for eternal beauty. Aristotle, on the other hand, referred it to the virtue and friendship, a kind of mutual understanding of the good. Subsequent traditions contributed the term agape, which is a concept of loving freely and universally. Thus, they gave a challenge to the lovers to love beyond mere desire. And after we bring modern science into the picture, brain chemistry, oxytocin, dopamine, we do not get rid of the mystery. We make it more complex. The intention is not to discover the ultimate solution. The intention is that the question is significant. The fact that love inspires us to question, to be fascinated, to analyze, that's not a defect, it is the very nature. Like our asking is one of the love experience elements. This is how we become a part of something bigger than ourselves. So possibly, the most honest philosophy of love is actually this: to continue the search and allow that search to govern the way we live. Please write your comment. Thank you.